Hello there and welcome to Aman Manyora's YouTube channel. This is our usual political conversations which are simple, truthful and biased. Prof puts them across in a hard-hitting way. I'm here with him. Black Shirt, how are you doing, sir?
Great.
You're great today?
Yes.
We are finishing up the week. How was the week for you?
Wonderful. Attended a funeral in Nyeri there. It's okay.
This week we started by speaking about CSs. From your Saturday video, you said it's time Ruto appoints CSs, not just cabinet secretaries, but people who will work without depending on him to do most of the work. From the list that he provided, from the CSs that he mentioned on Tuesday, did that meet your expectations?
No. The president has shown the people of Kenya contempt. At a time we need people to deliver us from the obvious trouble ahead. You cannot give us those kind of people.
Contempt is a very strong word.
Yeah, it is. It's contempt to the people of Kenya.
Why do you say these people cannot, as you put it, cannot deliver in this time?
You see, what the president has done, which is not, it's normal. And I understand. The president wants to get the country politically. He wants to dominate the country politically. And as a politician, that's quite in order. It's understandable. So by picking people, politicians from across the country, especially people who are supporting him, you know, that means he's assured of his political dominance and sustainability in power. But I thought, and I think I'm not alone, we have bigger problems than political stability. That means political sustainability. In other words, you are being president is less important than the people of Kenya saving themselves from near destruction. That's where they're headed. So why would you even want to struggle so hard to ensure you remain in office and the country could collapse in your hands?
Do you think he's plotting for the next elections with
of course,
these ones?
Already he's in 2027 and 2032. He wants to control the country. From politics, even 001, it's okay. That's how it's done. But these are not normal times. These are extraordinary times. We live in very extraordinary, challenging times that require extraordinary measures, beginning with assembling a government. The men and women the president has given this country, in the fullness of time, you'll begin to see that I was right.
I want to know though, some say if it were Raila, I would have done the same thing.
Of
Does
course,
this mean
politicians, and I mentioned this repeatedly. I said, Raila, you look most likely going to win. Ruto, if you win. For Ruto, it was if you win. Make sure you form a government of men and women who can deliver this country. Ruto has won and proceeded to give us people as if it is business as usual. It's not.
what role? Of course, he gave out roles for Musalia Mudavadi, but some say even CSs there, like Ababu Namwambo in sports, have better roles than Musalia Mudavadi. Is this super CS thing going to work for Musalia Mudavadi in the near future?
In fact, the Musalia Mudavadi position is unconstitutional. The way it has played out is unconstitutional.
Okay.
You cannot have somebody hanging in the air there and purporting to supervise cabinet secretaries. No, it's not possible. It's unconstitutional.
So he should have been made a CS first.
You become a CS, then you seek, I think through parliament, to give him extra duties. The constitution provides for it.
Okay.
I say so because I helped craft that NASA's chief minister. I helped them when they were drafting that. So I know what I'm talking about.
Are we looking at
You must have a CS. Once he's CS, you give him extra responsibilities as provided for by the Constitution. That you can seek authority of parliament, I think, I've forgotten, 2016, 2017, to give this chap extra responsibilities. You cannot give a non-cabinet secretary responsibilities of cabinet over cabinet minister. It's non-existent.
Will we have a situation
it's
where
unconstitutional,
someone challenges his position? Will we have that situation, someone coming out?
You know, the judiciary, you could challenge, and by the time your case is decided, it will be 2027. So I don't have hope in the judiciary. And I must say this openly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no hope in this judiciary. Nothing, absolutely no hope.
No, speaking
They can only arrest Manyora and charge him in a record 3 days and jail him because I'm nobody. But where it matters, where the public requires intervention, where an MP has violated the law, has gone to bed and promotes the interest of another political party, and the political party moves to the registrar of political parties, who agrees with them, who then informs the speaker to declare the seat vacant. The person moves to court, and the courts will be with it forever, as something that can be decided in one afternoon.
Now that we are there, should we speak about this majority and minority parliament is going to be open today? Of course,
that's another thing.
This conversation.
The speaker, I am more than certain the speaker will rule to say Kenya Kwanza has a right to majority, which will be wrong. It will be wrong. And we cannot start like that. Let us reach there. But I'm sure that's what they will say. It's wrong, it's unconstitutional, it is unnecessary, unconstitutional, unnecessary, it serves no purpose, it doesn't help Ruto, it doesn't help Wetangula, it doesn't help the parliament, it doesn't help the country. It just serves to show that we are people who are in bed with impunity. And utadu. No country can go in that direction. It's dangerous.
You know, speaking about judiciary, if they go to court, of course.
No, it doesn't matter. They will not listen. This Mudavadi thing, if you went to court, is unconstitutional. It cannot stand. Wetangula's ruling that I'm expecting, it will be unconstitutional. But even if you went to court, I wanted to go to court. Yeah. And I consulted several lawyers, and they told me, Manyora, you know you are a good man. But we also know you don't have a lot of money. You'll just waste your money. By the time this ruling is given, the MPs you want to stop will already have earned their salary one term. Because I was saying, if an MP has resigned like they resigned to join UDA and the other parties, they have resigned from the registrar of political parties. It is not, they have resigned. It's not something unaenda kutafutilia. They had to resign. They have resigned. But then they continue to earn salaries. That alone was a gross violation of Chapter 6. And on the basis of that, I was arguing, those MPs who had resigned but continued to earn salaries were not fit to hold public office. Shouldn't be allowed to run in the August election. The lawyers told me you have a very serious point, but this thing will drag on for 5 years. They will have been sworn in, they will have earned their salaries. That is the judiciary for you.
Sticking to the cabinet, President William Ruto went ahead to announce the roles of his deputy, saying he made it clear that his deputy will have work to do. You've always maintained that the deputy is a spare wheel. Correct. Does this mean that things are changing now and we'll see more and more active regarding Gachagua?
That is not unconstitutional, but that was not the intention of the constitutional framers. The Vice President, Kamala Harris, Vice President to Joe Biden, does not have roles defined for her the way Ruto is trying to do. It's a contradiction. The heir to the throne, now King Charles III, didn't have those roles. You just wait for the Queen to die. That's how it is. It cannot be any other way. You cannot create two centers of power. A deputy president, a vice president, a deputy governor cannot have defined roles. No. In any case, the things you are saying you'll give him, you don't need to tell anybody.
Okay.
There are only a few things that you cannot give the deputy president. You cannot send him to inspect a guard of honor on your behalf. There are certain things that are reserved for the head of state. Not even head of government, head of state. Certain roles, ceremonial, what, and other powers. You cannot tell Gachagua, now you go and do for me powers of mercy. You can't. And even when an election has been held, and you are having what we call temporal incumbency, like Uhuru had before handing over to Ruto, there are certain things he couldn't do, okay? Those things that Uhuru couldn't do under temporal incumbency, you can't give to the deputy, okay? But the rest, you don't need to tell anybody.
So what does this
If you want to send your deputy to chair something, you don't need to you don't need to dramatize it. It's already the powers for Gachagua to deputize Ruto are inherent within the Constitution, the understanding of the Constitution, the spirit of the Constitution, and the practice of governance. It is already there. You don't need to dramatize it.
You're just calling it
so
dramatization.
Ask me why he's dramatizing it.
Yeah, and I want to look at President Uhuru Kenyatta and how his relationship was with his deputy. We didn't know what they were talking.
You know how much power Ruto had?
Why is
they
it
were
dramatizing?
Almost a co-presidency.
Yeah.
But did he have to write it down?
Why the dramatization, as you put it?
You know, one thing with this Ruto man, he's obsessed with populism, number one. That leads you into dramatizing things.
Yeah.
It's like you are trying to prove a point. You are already the president of the Republic of Kenya. There is nothing to prove. No, you have all the instruments of power.
Okay.
You don't need to prove anything. Even those who don't like you, they will have to live with you. You are the president. Why would you want to show? Now, if he has not done that because of his love for populism and drama and a bit of ignorance of the law, the president is doing that under duress from Gachagua. Gachagua could have told him, look here, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, who is number one, who is number two, who is number three. I don't want that. In this government of ours, I want it to be clear that I, regarding Gachagua, a.k.a. Rig G, I'm the number two. And anybody else in this government will be number three. And I dare say a distant number three.
And that's Mudavadi's role.
So, if the president was not acting out of his love for drama and populism and a bit of ignorance, he was acting under duress from Rigathi Gachagua. Let us make it very clear who I am in this government.
And that's why he gave...
Otherwise, there's going to be a conflict between me and Mudavadi as who is what. Yes.
I think
that's the only way you can understand it.
Would you say things are bad between Rigathi Gachagua and Mudavadi?
Of course.
This conversation on offices. One was supposed to take the Haram.
And Gachagua went there. You are playing. Gachagua is the son of Mau Mau. You will not drag Gachagua will not be dragged along at come. You can't.
From a previous conversation, he said he might be outshining the president.
He could, but you see, I want us to stick with the issue of why that thing was written down, his roles and responsibilities. If you look at Mudavadi's roles, then you begin to understand why Gachagua's roles were put there. So that you can see Mudavadi is a poor assistant to Gachagua in terms of the responsibilities. Beginning by saying that Mudavadi shall assist the president and his deputy. And then proceed to give other roles that are clearly subsumed under the roles of Gachagua.
Okay.
So it's crafted clearly that you, Mudavadi, welcome to this government, but you should be under no illusion that you are anything.
Is Ruto paying political dues? There's this conversation of he has put more people from Mount Kenya into cabinet. There are places with 0 regions. Is this what getting into a political agreement?
It could be part of the bargain from Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua is strategizing to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya. Successful in my view. So he must have insisted. This government, we are the ones who formed it. He has said 43% of the votes came from us. That must be reflected in government. He appears to be speaking for the people, but he is strengthening his hold on the Mount Kenya. But it could also be Ruto is also operating under fear of Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
And therefore out to appease them. This is a tricky situation we are in.
What is the next for Ruto regarding? Remember Uhuru Ruto, first term, they said it is Ruto who ran.
The way they have done it is a recipe for disaster.
How so?
As a person who understands public affairs, governance, and human relations, I can assure you they have set themselves up for conflict. There will be conflict between Gachagua and Ruto in the fullness of time.
For that, we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. But you shall have to pray that it doesn't happen so badly, and that the country is not affected in the manner in which the conflict between Ruto and his boss, Uhuru Kenyatta, affected the government. It shouldn't get that level.
Thank you so much for tuning in to a political conversation. I do hope you have yourself a lovely rest of your day.